This is Global Watch on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. I am Abigail Okwade. President Joe Biden has unveiled a series of executive actions to target homemade ghost guns in his first major action on gun control since taking office. Ghost guns have no serial numbers, making them difficult to trace. They can be bought by minors and people who would not pass background checks. Biden enacting the measures through an executive order means he would not need approval from Congress. The executive order will include measures on the use of stabilizing braces and community violence prevention. The Justice Department will within 60 days be asked by Biden to draft a red flag law, which states can then use to create their own legislation. These laws authorize the courts and law enforcement to remove guns from people thought to be a risk to the community. He will also ask the Justice Department to draft a rule on stabilizing braces for pistols. Under the rule, a pistol used with a stabilizing brace would be classified as a short-barreled rifle, with much more stringent background checks required under the National Firearms Act. The White House added the administration will invest in evidence-based community violence interventions. The right to bear arms is protected by the Second Amendment to the U.S. Constitution, and many people see gun control laws as infringing on their constitutional rights. Northern Ireland police have said the rioting by hundreds of youths in the British province capital in Belfast on Wednesday night was on a scale not seen for years. 8 police officers were attacked, petrol bombs were thrown, and a bus was burnt during several hours of violence. Northern Ireland's power-sharing executive on Thursday put aside factional differences and called for calm to be restored, saying it was gravely concerned. Northern Ireland Secretary Brandon Lewis said the right to express concerns or frustrations is through dialogue, engagement, and the democratic process, not through violence or disorder. Labour Party leader Sir Starmer said the violence was completely unacceptable, and he called on Prime Minister Boris Johnson to step up and show leadership. Meanwhile, in a tweet, Boris Johnson said the way to resolve differences is through dialogue, not violence or criminality. Irish Prime Minister Simon said a number of factors were responsible for the anger and that the post-Brexit trading arrangements were clearly one of them. Also, parts of the region remain deeply split 23 years after the Good Friday peace deal. Many nationalists aspire to unification with Ireland, while unionists want to stay in the United Kingdom. Now in Myanmar, where at least 11 people have been killed in the northwest town of the country. Local media reported as anti-coup demonstrators fought back with handmade guns and firebombs against a crackdown by security forces on Thursday. There was no word of any casualties among the soldiers. That would take the toll of civilians killed by security forces to over 600 since the junta seized power from the elected government of Aung San Suu Kyi on February 1, according to the Assistant Association for Political Prisoners. In Yangon, the country's biggest city, activists placed shoes filled with flowers to commemorate dead protesters. Myanmar's ambassador to the United Kingdom, Kya Zua Min, said he had been locked out of the embassy, with sources saying his deputy had shut him out and taken charge on behalf of the military. Kya Zua Min has broken ranks with the ruling military in recent weeks, calling for the release of detained civilian leader Aung San Suu Kyi. British Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab on Thursday condemned the bullying actions of the Myanmar military regime and praised the ambassador's courage, but it was unclear what, if anything, the UK could do about the move. More than 100 economies have received more than 38 million doses of COVID-19 vaccines from COVAX. The milestone comes 42 days after the first COVAX doses were shipped and delivered internationally to Ghana on 24 February. This was contained in a statement by Gavi Vaccine Alliance and World Health Organization on Thursday. This is despite reduced supply availability in March and April, the statement said. COVAX expects to deliver doses to all participating economies that have requested vaccines in the first half of the year, the statement added. Despite the feat achieved, Henrietta Fore, UNICEF Executive Director, said, "This is no time to celebrate. Rather, it is time to accelerate with variants emerging all over the world. To speed up global rollout, Fore said governments, along with other partners, need to take necessary steps to increase supply, simplifying barriers to intellectual property rights rights, eliminating direct and indirect measures that restrict exports of COVID-19 vaccines, and donating excess vaccine doses as quickly as possible. According to its latest supply forecast, COVAX expects to deliver at least 2 billion doses of vaccines in 2021, the statement further stated. Still in health matters, in a Grand Chamber judgment on Thursday by the European Court of Human Rights held for the Czech Republic, said there is a general legal duty to vaccinate children against 9 diseases that are well known to medical science. Compliance with the duty cannot be physically enforced. Parents who fail to comply without good reason can be fined. Non-vaccinated children are not accepted in nursery schools. An exemption is made for those who cannot be vaccinated for health reasons. The court pointed out that under its case law, compulsory vaccination as an involuntary medical intervention represents an interference with physical integrity and thus concerns the right to respect for private life protected by Article 8 of the Convention. The judgment emphasizes that in all decisions concerning children, their best interest must be of paramount importance. On a general level, it noted the scope and content of the duty to vaccinate, the existing exemptions from it, and the procedural safeguards available. It found that it was challenges to the instructional arrangements in the place in Czech Republic and to the effectiveness and safety of the vaccines in question had not been established. The court further clarified that ultimately the issue to be determined was not whether a different, less prescriptive policy might have been adopted, as had been done in some other European states. Rather, it was whether in striking that particular balance that they did, the Czech authorities had exceeded their wide margin of appreciation in this area. It concluded that the impunged measures could be regarded as being necessary in a democratic society. You are watching Global Watch. Coming up next is stories on security matters, business and entertainment after the break. Do stay tuned. Welcome back. You are still watching Global Watch on your digital first Pan-African news network, TOS Television. 7 Chinese supercomputing companies on Thursday have been added to the United States Entity List of export controls due to their so-called involvement in building supercomputers used by China's military actors and conducting activities that are contrary to the national security or foreign policy interests of the United States. This was disclosed in a statement by the Department of Commerce. U.S. Secretary of Commerce Gina Raimondo said the Department of Commerce will use the full extent of its authorities to prevent China from leveraging U.S. technologies to support the destabilizing military modernization efforts. The entities meet the criteria for inclusion on the entity list listed under Section 744, subsection 11 of the Export Administration's regulations, she added. Strained China-U.S. relations in recent years have put loads of Chinese tech companies on the blacklist. French President Emmanuel Macron is expected to announce the closure of National Administration School, one of France's top colleges, on the plans to boost social mobility. His announcement is expected in a video conference with several hundred top civil servants. Speaking in the western city of Nantes in February, Macron said it was time to open up access to top colleges for students from modest backgrounds. The aim, he said, was that no kid in the Republic should say, "This is not for me." He deplored the current state of social mobility in France, saying it was worse than 50 years ago. Before becoming president, Macron attended the ENA before obtaining a plum job at the Financial Inspectorate, a part of the Finance Ministry. The ENA was established in Strasbourg in 1945 with the aim to rebuild a modern French state from the wreckage of the World War II. While the school was designed as a as a meritocracy, research shows that ENA students' parents are often senior civil servants themselves or CEOs. Very few come from working-class backgrounds. Now in business, the number of Americans applying for unemployment benefits shot up to 744,000 last week. This is signaling that many employers are still cutting jobs, even as more people are vaccinated against the virus. The Labor Department said on Thursday that first-time claims for the week ended April 3 totaled 744,000, well above the expectation for 694,000. The total represented increase of 16,000 from the previous week's upwardly revised 728,000. The 4-week moving average edged higher to 723,750 from the week ending March 27. More than 3.7 million people were receiving traditional state unemployment benefits, the government said. California and New York accounted for most of the rise in jobs, with respective increases of 38,963 and 15,714. According to unadjusted data, those increases were offset somewhat by a decline of 13,944 in Alabama and 10,502 in Ohio. Now in entertainment, where police in Sri Lanka have arrested the reigning Miss World Caroline Jury after she allegedly injured a fellow beauty queen in an onstage bust-up. Beauty queen Popshika De Silva won the Miss Sri Lanka title at a ceremony on national TV in a theater in Colombo on Sunday night. Moments later, 2019 winner Caroline Jury seized the Silva's crown, crowning the runner-up, prompting a tearful Miss De Silva to walk off stage. A video of the incident showed. She claimed she could not be awarded the title, citing a pageant rule that competitors must be married and not divorced. In a Facebook post, Miss De Silva said she went to hospital to be treated for head injuries suffered after the brawl and that broke out on stage. She added that she would take legal action for the unreasonable and insulting way she was treated. The organizers apologized to Ms. De Silva and returned the prize to her after pageant organizers confirmed she is not a divorcee. And that is it on Global Watch for today. For more updates, do visit our website at www.tostvnetwork.com. Do follow and like our social media handles on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And remember to subscribe on YouTube. I am Abigail Okwade. Remain safe.